Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ellinesscrafts channel. My name's Lorraine and I'm coming to you from the UK. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, welcome. I do hope that you'll find something here that you enjoy, and you can join in conversations in the comment section below the video. Just so you know, I do timestamps on my videos, so I split the video up into different sections so you can jump from one section to the next if that's the kind of thing you want to do. If you're not interested in finished objects, for example, you can jump straight into works in progress. Last video I did do I was able to divide up my cross-stitching projects, and so you were able to click on the timestamp for cross-stitching, so my Flosstube viewers could just jump straight to the flossy section. This time I'm not so sure because I have quite a mixture of things. So I have crochet, I have knitting, I have some tapestry, I have cross-stitching, and I even have a diamond painting. So yeah, so it's a bit of a mixed bag this time round, but if those are the things that you are interested in hearing and seeing me talk about, then do stay tuned. So I'm going to jump straight into my finished objects section, so let's go. So first up I have the Scandi throw. I mentioned this in my last video. I just showed you, I was just starting out with this pattern. It was a pattern that I got from a magazine. I can't remember what the magazine was, but let's see. Where's the picture? That's the picture of the pattern, and this was a throw, but I wanted to make a baby blanket, so that's what I did. So if you want to know about the yarns that I used, then do check my last video where I went over the yarns, but for the sake of keeping this video fairly short, I'm going to refer you to that video. This is the finished blanket. So I managed to do that. I do feel like it's a little bit small, but it is probably more for a stroller or a Moses basket blanket. It's for a newborn, I suppose. But I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I have used 4 different colours and then the white, and I did share quite a lot of info on the last video, but now it is finished and I'm pretty pleased with it. All I've done since the last video is just continue with the pattern, and then I've done the border, and the border was pretty easy. I think it was just single crochets, UK double crochets for the border. It wasn't very tricky at all. I'd say this is quite a good and easy enough pattern for an experienced crocheter. I have been crocheting for probably 2 years now, and I've gone beyond beginner level, but I wouldn't say that I'm advanced. I can make things, but this I did find challenging in terms of the pattern, because the pattern has a chart. It has a printed chart, so hopefully it's okay to show you the chart. It has this printed chart, and I found it really confusing to do that, because I didn't quite understand how it worked. But then the instructions with the pattern are pretty much, if you once I read the instructions, I was able to follow it, but it took a lot of concentration. So it is something I would like to make again, and I probably will, because I have a lot of yarn left over. I actually bought the amount of yarn that I needed for the throw. It didn't occur to me to buy a smaller amount of yarn, because I was just making a baby blanket. So I bought the amount that was recommended for the throw itself, and as a consequence I have a heap of these yarns left. So I may do the same again, but I have started a corner to corner crochet blanket, but I'm not quite liking the way that's working up at the moment, so I think I'm going to rip that back. But yeah, quite a lot of yarn left over because I've made the baby size, but I'm really pleased with it. and this is ready to go. I was going to block it, but I decided, nah, I'm not going to. I quite like the way it looks. It's fine to me, and I'm ready to ship this off to the recipient. So I'm really pleased with that, and I will do that one again at some point. I think I may try the throw itself, because I like the idea of having a nice big throw. Probably not in these colours, just to try something different. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was an interesting project to work on, and I had fun with that. It was really nice to see it all building up colour wise and everything, and now I can actually say I've done some colour work crochet, real colour work. So I'm pleased with that. Next up, I have a pair of socks. Actually, I have quite a few things. So I have, let's see, I have socks, gloves, and a hat. So I bought this yarn, which is the West Yorkshire Spinners yarn, signature 4-ply yarn in the colourway Silent Night, which is the Christmas yarn. I showed it to you in the last video, and I bought 2 balls of that, and I started off, last video I showed you the socks that I was starting, so I made some shorty socks out of the yarn, which I'm pleased with. So it's just my usual recipe for a 64 stitch sock, which fits my feet, 2x2 rib for 2 inches. Then I think I've done about 15 rows in straight stocking stitch. Then I've done the heel flap and gusset. Then I've just knit to the toe and then done a rounded toe, and that's it. So it's just a plain vanilla sock, because I felt like the pattern deserves to be, that the yarn itself deserves to be shown off as it is, rather than trying to pattern. This actually comes with a pattern which I will share with you later, but I didn't want to do the pattern. I wanted to do a vanilla sock because I felt like the yarn, I wanted to just show off the yarn. It's got a sparkle in it, it's a stripy yarn, and I thought that was enough. So I've done the socks. Then I had leftover yarn, so I thought, right, I'm not going to waste this and play around with this. I want to make some gloves. So here are the gloves. I think I showed these on my Instagram account. So these are the gloves. I'll put them on so you can see. These are made to my own specification, so these are for my hand size. I did do, what did I do? 2x2 ribbed cuff. I think I've put information on my Ravelry page. That's the other thing I forgot to say. Any pattern information that I share will be in the description box, and my links will usually be to Ravelry pages. So if you're not happy to look at Ravelry pages and you still want information about a pattern, let me know and I will try and get that to you somehow. But the links that I use tend to be towards Ravelry. So yeah, so I've done the gloves. I did the first hand, and the thumb was a little bit wider at the base than I had liked. This was like a tester glove really. While I was trying to get what's the word? I was trying to get the fit down to the way I want it. So this was like my tester glove. And then once I'd decided, okay, the thumb on this one, for example, is a bit too wide here. So when I did the next thumb, you can probably see the difference. It's not as wide. The base comes down a lot further. So I made adjustments for the second hand, and the second hand is a much better fit than the first hand. The finger numbers and all that kind of stuff are much better on the second hand, sorry. So anyway, yeah, so these are the gloves. So I have a lovely pair of gloves, which I'm really pleased with. They're not necessarily going to be mine. I may gift these, because I do have another ball of yarn, the same Silent Night yarn, to make some more stuff. So anyway, lastly, I still had yarn left over, so I made my biscuit hat pattern. So on Ravelry, I came up with this biscuit hat. When was it? Gosh, 2018. I designed a biscuit hat pattern, and that's my biscuit hat. And I decided to use this pattern for the leftover yarn, for the Silent Night yarn by West Yorkshire Spinners. And let me show you what it looks like on. I could try the whole lot on, couldn't I really? So here's the hat. I've held the yarn double for this. It came up a little bit bigger. I followed the pattern to a point, and then I realised that if I continued doing the pattern, then it's going to be too long. I like a beanie style hat and not a slouchy hat, so it was going to be too long. The pattern is a beanie style pattern, but for some reason, because I doubled up the yarn, I guess I used 2 strands of the Silent Night yarn. So rather than it being just 4-ply yarn, it was 4-ply doubled. So it should amount to like a DK weight yarn, but I think it came up more like an Aran weight yarn when I was knitting it, which would explain why it came up a little bit bigger than I thought. I mean, the fit is fine. It's just the length was a little bit too long, so I stopped the rest of the hat after the pattern, so that I could do the crown decreases early, just so that it wouldn't be too long. So this is the hat. This is my biscuit hat pattern, available on Ravelry. So for the sake of completeness, I have the hat and I have the gloves. And here we go. So this will probably be my screen, what did you call it? My thumbnail. So that's that. So I'm pleased with that. So these are probably going to be a gift to a family member, but I haven't decided who yet. But yeah, so I've got hat and glove set. I'm really pleased with that. I do want to make another pair of gloves because I have some more. I actually bought some more of the Silent Night colourway because I really, really like it. And I might make another pair of socks. And possibly the same set again if I can get away with it. So yeah, so I'm pleased with that. So those are the Silent Night stuff that I've worked on. I'm just going through my list here, making sure that I cross everything off. The biscuit hat pattern, incidentally, is a DK weight. It's for a DK weight yarn. So that's it. That is for a double knit weight yarn, not 4-ply, hence the reason I doubled the yarn to make the hat. So yeah, so that's that. Then I have made the hat, the Full of Minis hat. I mentioned this in my last video as well. I'd started this. This is the Full of Minis hat by Barbara Naluco. That's the hat pattern. And I was halfway through the hat in my last video, and this is what it looks like now. So I'm really pleased with it. It is so thick. I mean, if you are going to somewhere really, really cold, this will keep your head warm. I actually recommended this to Victoria Knits, who has the Victoria Knits podcast here on YouTube, because she does a lot of hiking, and I thought this hat would be ideal for her. So I'll try it on for you. It is so thick. I think for me it could be a little bit longer in the body because I like my ears to be completely covered, and I think here I'm actually pulling it quite a lot to get it like that, but it is doable. You could do a pom-pom on the top, which would set it off nicely, but I wasn't sure which colour to do the pom-pom in, and I just got to the point where I thought, yeah, I'm not going to do a pom-pom, I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm not really a pom-pom hat wearer. Saying that, I'm not really a multicoloured hat wearer, so this is going to be gifted, so I could do a pom-pom. That's the top. I quite like the way the top went. It looks quite interesting. The inside looks like this. So yeah, it's really thick. I don't know if you can see how thick that is because it's layered. It's like lots of little layers, lots of minis. It is so warm, and I really would recommend this. I'm actually thinking of doing this one for using some more similar tones, a tonal hat rather than multicoloured. So we shall see. Watch this space for that one. But I enjoyed the pattern. I did find it a bit slow because when you do the excuse me, when you're doing these little, what do you call these? Wedges, I'm going to call them. When you're doing these wedges, you have to pick up stitches, and it's being able to do that. I couldn't do it in particular light, so that was slower, and because of the fact that you're picking up stitches, it makes it a slower process. And obviously when you're doubling up sections of yarn, it's going to take that much longer. So it took a lot longer than it would normally take me to make a hat, but the end result I'm really pleased with, and it's going to be a really, really warm hat for somebody. So I would definitely make it again. I would definitely recommend it if you want to make a really warm hat for somebody or even for yourself. I would definitely recommend the pattern. Very easy pattern to follow as well, and it's got pictures to help you with the instructions, so you can't go wrong. But yeah, I really, really do like this, and I will most likely make another one, because but it will probably be just one colour or a couple of different colours, but tones that all like blend the right word? Tones that all kind of go together. So that's the Full of Minis hat, another knit. Then I'm crossing these off as I go along so I don't miss anything. Then I have some more socks. So I have some Zappable socks. I think I started these after the last video. These are, let me get my blockers. These are socks made for a male in my family. Not quite sure which male at the moment, but the men in my family require 72 stitch socks, and so that's what I've done. I've used more or less, I've used quite a lot of this yarn. So the yarn is Zappable Crazy yarn, and it's the colour U-Boot. Get all these little tags on it. Here's another one. It's a lovely kind of mixed turquoisey, blue, green. Let me show you. It's easier to show you. There's a mixture of colours on this, but I really, really do like the colourway. So that's it there. These socks are so warm. They're very, I'm thinking of the word rich, but I'm not sure that's the right word. Dense, tightly knit. I don't know how to describe them, but I really like the colours for these socks, but also I like the thickness of the fabric it produces, so you can't see through that. It's very tightly knit, very nicely woven together. The only issue I had with these socks, and I use my normal sock top down recipe for my socks with 2x2 rib, 2 inches, 2.25mm needles, which is a US size 1. Knitting as long as I need the leg to be, with a heel flap and gusset, knit down to the toe, rounded toe. That's my standard recipe for vanilla socks. Problem was, I worked these on 9-inch circulars, which are my Chalgu 9-inch circulars, and when I got down to the toe, as I normally do, I take off the circulars and I start using my double pointed needles. So I put these on the double pointed needles and started knitting away with those, and I realised that the tension is a lot tighter. Can you see the difference? It's along here, you should be able to see the difference. Maybe, yeah, probably see it better there. It's a lot tighter in the toe here than for the rest of the sock. So it seems as though my tension for 9-inch circulars has changed in comparison to my work using DPN's double pointed needles. So I was trying to figure out how to get around that. I don't know if it's just because I haven't knit a pair of socks for a while, because I stopped doing these ones, because I didn't notice any difference with these socks actually. When I did these socks I didn't notice the difference. Well, there isn't one. It was fine. And then when I went on to these ones, it seemed quite clear that my tension for the rest of the sock was different to the toe because I switched from 9-inch circulars to double pointed needles. So I was kind of, I'm in an R-ing as to whether or not to buy some smaller 9-inch circulars, maybe 2mm 9-inch circulars, to deal with that issue, or when I do the toe, to go up a size for the toe in the double pointed needles. But I quite like the tension on the toe section. So Angie from Instagram, someone that I follow on Instagram, she suggested that I go if I like the tension for the toe, to go down a size for the 9-inch circulars, so that the tension for the toe matches the tension for the rest of the sock. So I'm thinking about purchasing some 2mm needles, 9-inch circular needles, to work the body of the sock. But it could just be the yarn. This is what I'm thinking now, because I didn't have any problems with those socks. So it could just be that the yarn is, I just seem to knit slightly differently with this different type of yarn. I don't know, but oh, I've got pins and needles in my foot now. Oh gosh. So yeah, I'm kind of undecided. If you have any tips or any ideas, let me know. I think it may just be a case of I need to make a few more pairs of socks to kind of get my sock knitting tension back again, and then I can get back to working on my 2.25mm needles. But again, I'm knitting another pair of socks, and I don't see a difference in the tension in those, so it could just be the yarn. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Is it worth buying some new needles just for the sake of that? This is just the one time that I've noticed that my tension seems to be different in the toe than on the rest of the sock. So I don't know, we shall see. But I really enjoyed those socks. It was a bit of a slow knit because, as I said, they're 72 stitch sock count, so these are huge, but they should fit the person that they're knit for quite well. So I'm pleased with those. I like the colourway. I have another pair of socks. Those are Christmas knitting, so I have another pair of Christmas socks that I need to get started, but I haven't yet. And I showed you the yarn for those in the last video. So those are my socks. Then, what else do I have? Let's see. After doing the socks, now let's move into the diamond painting that you see here. So I showed you the diamond painting last time. This one, I was getting bored of it because of the colours, and so I finished it off, and I'm pretty pleased with it. But I can see here, you can see a patch here, and I think what I did was I got so bored of it, I picked up a colour and I just zapped that area with one colour, and I don't think it was the right colour because it stands out to me. Not sure that it really matters, and I'm not changing it now, but I can see the difference. But I don't think anyone's really going to spot that. But it's done. As I mentioned before, these are round drills, and this is a 40 by 40 centimetre painting. I'm pleased that it's finished. I've yet to find a frame for it, and I don't think there's any more that I can say about it. It was okay. So far the drills seem to be stuck down nicely. I have got some glue that I may go over it with just to make sure that they do stay stuck down, but I think when I get a frame for it, it's going to be stuck in the frame anyway, so that'll just hold the drills in place. But I'm pleased that that is done. I have one more diamond painting to finish off, and I don't have the motivation to do that at the moment. I've been trying to just do my knitting and focusing on other things, so I think that one's going to be a while. But I will get that one done at some point, but just not quite yet. This diamond painting, it doesn't really have a name, but I would call it Heaven. And I'm pleased that it's finished. So, moving on, crochet. One more crochet item, or two. I posted a picture of these on my Instagram account because I was pretty pleased with them. So I was asked to make these little Amigurumi toys by a family member, and yeah, this is what they turned out like. These are the Storyland Amigurumi dolls. So this is Mrs. Claus and this is Mr. Claus, or Santa Claus. And as you can see, they are of colour. The original pattern has, what colour yarn was it? Uses a kind of a creamy or beigey colour yarn for the skin, and because the person that requested these wanted a more representative skin colour for their Santa and Mrs. Claus, these are the colours that I managed to get. These are made using Stylecraft yarn. They didn't have a very good variation of browns in their collection, so it was either this or that or that. I think there was about 3 different colour browns, and this was the closest to the colour that she wanted, and so that's what I've got. And I'm really pleased with them because I don't generally do amigurumi. The hat is sewn on. The hair, I'm not like 100% about the hair, but it's kind of hidden by the hat because the hat is literally, the hair is just actually sewn around the head, which is fine because the hat kind of hides it. First time I've ever used safety eyes, so I'm hoping that they don't pop out at any point and I've secured them properly. It's not for a baby, this is for an adult, so I don't really need to worry about the eyes so much, because generally when I'm making amigurumi toys I prefer to stitch the eyes on because I get a bit scared that these little safety eyes might pop off. So yeah, I don't need to worry about that because these are for an adult. And yeah, took up quite a bit of stuff in for the heads, but I noticed that on one, although the head size was, the head is made the same way for each of them. It's just the slight variations in the beard and the moustache and the clothes on these. This head of Santa turned out bigger than the head of Mrs. Claus, so I'm not quite sure why. Maybe my tension was different. I did switch needle hooks up from this one to this one. They were both 4mm hooks, but it could possibly be the type of hook that I used as well that changed the tension, or it could just be that I got a bit more relaxed with the pattern, and I wasn't as like nervous about doing it with the second one as with the first. So that could possibly be why his head turned out much bigger than hers, and also his legs. I don't know if you can see there, his legs are a lot chunkier than hers, but I figure that looks fine because it's not a huge deal. It actually works nicely with these two. What else is different? The beard was interesting. It moves. It's doubled over crocheted section there, which was an interesting touch. Did I learn anything new with this pattern? Yes, one thing that I noticed was she does a different way of changing colours. So on her patterns, she does a slip stitch row before she changes from one colour to the next, and then for the second row she knits through the back loop. Not knit, oh dear, I'm saying knitting and I'm talking about crochet. She crochets through the back loop on the second row. So when she's attaching, when you do the first row of the white, you do a slip stitch row all the way around, and then when you do the second row you do a crochet through the back loop, single crochet through the back loop, and that's your colour change. And she says she does that because it looks neater. I'm not quite sure because I don't tend to use, I don't do toys and stuff all the time. I don't crochet regularly enough in stripes to know the difference or to learn different techniques, but yeah, I'm pleased with the way that turned out. I'm slightly disappointed with the back because it doesn't line up, but I'm not quite sure what I could have done about that. I'm not quite sure what I did wrong for the back. If you have any pointers on how to make the back a little bit more continuous, then please do share, because then I can know what to do for next time. But her one, she's not different. Her one's the same actually, but she's got like little bloomers underneath and underneath her dress. But I'm pleased with how they both turned out. It was a lot better than I expected. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to meet the challenge of making these two, but I'm really pleased with the end results. So yeah, and she's happy with them too. So these are my crochet amigurumi, Mrs. Claus and Santa Claus. So that's those. Now, the bit that you've been waiting for, my Flosstube friends, is the, let's see, I'm going to start with the Damask needle case. I bought this a little while ago from John Lewis, just because I've been doing a lot of cross stitching and I have needles, because I buy the kits, so each time I get a kit I get a needle, and I wanted somewhere to put the needles, so I thought, let me buy the needle case. And so I thought, what better than to have a cross stitch needle case? So I purchased the kit excuse me, And here's the needle case. I showed it on my Instagram account. So it's got the flowers, flower design on the front. This is, I think it's on a 14 count Aida. It doesn't actually say. And then there's the design for the back. And then you've got the tassel. Not entirely pleased with the inside of this. It tells you to do, what was the kind of stitch? I can't remember. It tells you to just stitch around the edges. So I've done that. It's not very tidy, as you can see, and you know, it's okay because it's mine, but I think if I was to do this again, I'd want to probably get my sewing machine out and stitch around the edges so it looks a lot neater. But also there's this stitch that the pattern tells you to do down the middle to secure the bookmark. Doesn't actually tell you to put the bookmark on the outside as well. Slip the bookmark, not the bookmark, slip the tassel over that, and so that it goes on the inside and on the outside. It doesn't actually tell you that in the instructions. However, I figured it out from the picture, and then you stitch down the middle with this crossed over stitch. I can't remember what they called it. Let's see. It's called, come on, where are you? Catch stitch. Now, I'd never heard of a catch stitch, so I had to Google that and figure out what the catch stitch was, and then work out how to actually do it. It's not perfect. I don't think that is properly the catch stitch, but it's as good as it got for me. It's going to have to do because I'm not doing it again. But yeah, I've got some needles in there. The main thing is it holds my needles, and I like the design of this. But the pattern itself was a little bit vague in terms of, I mean, like I said, I didn't know what the catch stitch was. Then it doesn't tell you what count Aida it is. It doesn't tell you, what else didn't it tell you? It tells you where to start it, but then you get a piece of, you get the Aida, and you've got to figure out where to place it. You can't just fold it in the middle like you normally do with a cross stitch project and then find the center. This doesn't start in the center. This design starts when you start it. They recommend you start stitching from the corner. So I started stitching from the corner, and when I worked out, I realized that, hey, it wasn't quite in the right place for the fabric to be, for the pattern design to be centered. I don't know. I had to figure out how to get the design on the Aida so that it was placed with enough of a space around the edges. Also, the design doesn't actually, the kit doesn't tell you what's included in the kit. So you get a needle, you get the Aida, you get the felt, you get the tassel. You don't get the cardboard that they suggest that you stick inside the needle book. So I didn't know. I'd never made a needle book before, so I didn't know that you needed cardboard in there. So I just happened to have some cardboard and was able to cut that up to put it in. But yeah, it wasn't quite what I was expecting from a little kit like this. I was expecting to have everything I needed in the kit to be able to make the needle case, but I didn't. And the cardboard wasn't there, and the instructions were a little bit vague for my liking. Also, when it comes up, the colour key, that was the other thing that annoyed me about this. So most patterns, you get a key, where is it, telling you the thread colour, and then what does it do? You get like a little, you get the thread colour, and then you get the symbol. And this one, because it's got, there are 3 different tones of pink. So you had, sorry, I'm putting on and off. So you had dark pink, mid pink, pale pink, and a dark red. Now the dark red is more like a burgundy colour. Then the dark pink, mid pink, and pale pink are very close in colour. So it would have been a little bit more helpful if they were given numbers, for example, and the actual threads were bundled up with numbers attached to them, because all you get is the threads in a little knot, threads knotted together, lightly knotted together in the packet, and you've got to decipher for yourself which one's the dark pink, the mid pink, and the light pink. and so that was a bit annoying to start with. And also it uses symbols like the circle. Let me show you. So on this pattern you've got a circle and a diamond. Now with my eyesight it's very difficult to determine the and the square with the circle in it. These three symbols are very difficult to read properly on the chart, unless you've got very good eyesight, because the chart is printed quite finely. So I was having to really get close up to the chart to decipher whether or not the circle was a diamond and a diamond was a circle. So it was pretty testing on the eyes. It's not a kit that I would buy again, because I think it was a little bit annoying trying to determine which colours to use for which. And I did make the mistake of using on one section, where was it? On here, you can probably see it, that's a dark pink there, and I think that was probably meant to be a lighter pink. So I started doing the flowers and there's like 2 different tones of pink down here, and I used the wrong one. And then when I got to another point I realised it was a light pink, and I thought, hang on, these 2 that I've done here are dark pink, so I've used the wrong colour, so I had to rip them out and do them again. So it was quite annoying that they didn't differentiate between the different pinks a bit better, tag them up, flag them up, so that you know which one is mid pink, which one's dark pink, and what have you, because otherwise you've got to get the threads together and decide between them which one's the dark, the light, the mid, and if you separate them you're not going to know which one is described as the dark, the light, the mid, unless you've got them all together. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so it wasn't a difficult pattern, but in terms of my eyes and being able to see them properly, it was a little bit more testing, trying to decide which colour was which. And the same with the green colour, because you had a light green and a mid green, and they're very close in colour. So yeah, a bit more testing on the eyes. Not a difficult pattern, but a little bit more testing. If you're someone that wears reading glasses like I do, then it's going to be a little bit more tricky to decipher the colours, decipher the symbols for the different colours, and to determine which is the light green, the dark green, and the mid green, kind of, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, unless you do it all in one sitting and then you just separate them out and that's it. But I did it a day at a time or whatever. I didn't do them all in one day. Anyway, I'm rambling. So that was that. Then my most exciting thing to share with you, my most exciting finished object to share with you this time around, is the stocking that I was working on. So I shared a picture on my Instagram account, but I couldn't show you the whole stocking because I didn't want my friend to be watching, well, to look at my Instagram account and know it was for her son. So this is for my godson, and this is the complete stocking. So I watched Little Yellow House Crafts, and she did a felt backing video. She did a tutorial on how she does the quilt backing for her stocking, and I followed her tutorial and I came up with this quilt backing. It's not perfect because I'm not a seamstress. I'm not someone that has been sewing for donkey's years and does it all the time. I bring out my sewing machine every once in a blue moon. So I had issues with my sewing machine at one point, and yeah, so I quilted it all myself. The first ever time I've ever done quilting, so I'm really pleased with it. I did miss a bit, but hey, who cares? It's quilted, it's finished. I did have to stitch a bit of material to the top of it because my the 2 sides didn't quite line up. I don't know how to describe that. I had the quilting on the inside and the quilting on this side. Once I'd quilted the fabric, basically the fabric, how do you describe this? So there's wadding in between the 2 sides of this material, and I had to quilt it myself, so I stitched the quilted lines myself. And once I'd done that, once I'd quilted the backing, I realised that the 2 sides were of the fabric were a bit misaligned, so you could see the wadding coming up the top, so I had to cut a separate piece of fabric and cover that up to hide it. So I've done that. That's why I've got this flap at the top here, and then I've stuck this on, which probably should be here rather than there, but you know what, it is what it is. But I'm really pleased with it. It's all done. That's the stocking. This is my holiday Hooties stocking by Dimensions. It's a Dimensions kit that I bought on Amazon. I'm really pleased with it, and yes, I just need to fill it up for him and then he can have it for Christmas. So I'm really pleased with that one. That was like the most exciting moment for me, because I've never made a stocking before, I've never quilted before, and I've never done a quilted stocking using cross stitch. So yeah, really super pleased. So that's the holiday Hooties stocking. I don't think there was any difficulty. The main difficulty I had with this was the doing the backing. You do, if you're not a sewer or you don't want to do the quilting, the kit actually does come with the felt backing, so you can just cut out the shape of the felt and then just attach it to the front. You don't have to do the quilting. There's nothing to say that you have to do anything extra, so you can just keep it simple and just attach your felt to the back and you're good to go. But I wanted to have a go at doing the quilted stocking because I liked Little Yellow House Crafts one, and I thought it would make it a really, really nice keepsake. So I had a go and I'm pleased with the result. Next time round, obviously, I will have a bit more of an insight as to what to do, how to do it. I do have ideas for doing another dimensioned cross stitch stocking, but not for the time being. I have a tapestry one that I'm working on, which I will show you in my works in progress section. So that is the last of my finished objects. That was a long one, wasn't it? So let me clear all this stuff away and then I will get back to you and share with you my whips, my works in progress. It got a bit dark in here, so I had to turn the ring light on, so that's why you can see this bright light coming from the side. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm trying to get these done, but for some reason it's only just gone past 3 o'clock and it's already starting to get dark. It's really annoying. So cross stitch. I have been working on the Bothy Threads Shall We Dance pattern by Bothy Threads, and last time I showed you this I had done part of the seahorse. I'd done the top section, I'd done the top section of the left seahorse, hadn't quite done the fin or anything else, and this is where I am now. So I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. I've finished one complete seahorse, as you can see here, so this is the left one, and I've just started the right one. I've done, hopefully you can see, I've just done part of the head. I haven't filled in, I've done the eye, but I haven't done the back stitching around the eye, and I'm working this way and then downwards. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how this one's turning out. The colours on this are really, really beautiful. I'm enjoying this. This did start to fray, the fabric, so I've had to do some zigzag stitch around the edge with my sewing machine. This is worked on a 14 count Zweigart Aida, and the actual fabric is a printed fabric. This comes as part of the kit. The kit comes with the sorted cottons, needle, instructions, the whole shebang, so I didn't need to think about anything other than the stitching, and I'm stitching it 2/1. And I'm really pleased with it. It's really working out lovely. I can't wait to have this finished and framed so I can put it in my bathroom. But yeah, that is Bothy. No difficulties with this one. I think it's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty easy going. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy the colours. The colours just make me happy on this, and every time I show this one off, so many people really, really like the look of it. I've started using a embroidery hoop for this instead of a Q-snap, just because I have a seat stand now and I can attach it to that, and I can show you that in a minute. But yeah, I'm pleased with how that one's working up. It's a slow process, but it's an enjoyable slow process, so I'm not worried about that. That will get done. I also have, let's see, where is it? freezing season. I ordered this Tapestry, another dimensions kit from Amazon, thinking it was a cross-stitch design, and it turned out it's a tapestry kit. So it's basically it's a tapestry kit but using threads or floss, and it's done on a 14 mesh canvas, it says. Yeah, but it's using threads instead of yarn, so I thought that's interesting. So I didn't want to return it to Dimensions because I got it wrong. I thought I'll just have a go and see how I get on. So I've put it on my frame, and I've got, let's see, this is how far I've got. Let me wind this down a bit. So I've done the top section. Hold on a second. It's an LBZ frame, this is. I've done the top of it. Here is all done. I've done this section. I've done some of the white bits. I think I've still got these bits to fill in. I've done the head here, the hat there. I've still got to do, oh, I've done all of that. I forgot I'd done all of this. I'm going to have to take a picture and keep updating myself. I've done a lot more than I thought I'd done because I've put it down for a few days to just get on with the Shall We Dance one, the seahorse one. But yeah, I've done quite a bit, haven't I? Let's see. There we are. So I'm onto the face now. So I've done all of this bit. The only thing I find, it looks great like this from a distance, but when I'm looking at it close up, these colours here don't seem to work for me. My eyes focus on these and look at them as long stripes rather than looking at them as making the hat a bit more dimensional. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too critical. But I've got a little ways to go on this. So I'm not halfway there. No, I wouldn't say I'm halfway there. Part of the way there. Maybe a third of the way down. I've still got quite a lot to do. Let's see. How much more do I have? Yeah, I want to get the face done. I want to do some more on the face. But that I need to do that without interruption. And the back's quite not bad, actually. The back's turning out not bad. I've been using the Continental stitch and also the basket weave stitch for this, so a mixture of both. Where I've got big chunks of background, I'll do the basket weave, and where I've just got like little bits like this, I'm trying to do the basket weave, but it's not as easy. And here, so I try to do a bit of Continental stitch for that instead. So I'm just kind of winging it really and seeing what works best. It's not going to show from the inside anyway, because I'll probably put, once it's done, I'll probably put a backing on. What I've noticed about this canvas is it's a lot softer than the Bothy Threads one. So when I did the cushions, the flamingo cushion and the bee cushion, the canvas was really, really rigid and very stiff. This one is very soft. It feels very soft. It's not scratchy. So I think this is going to be a lot easier on my sewing machine when I finally finish this and get around to stitching it all together. My sewing machine shouldn't have any problems with this because it's quite soft. And yeah, it's going to be nice and pliable. I can't wait to get this done. I'm not looking at trying to finish this up for this Christmas, to be quite honest, because that will be a bit of a push and I want to do other things. I didn't intend for this to be finished this Christmas, so if I do get it finished this Christmas, it will be a bonus, but if I don't, then it's not a huge loss. But that is it. So this is that's where I am. This is Freezing Season Stocking Kit by Dimensions on Amazon, and I'm loving the way that's working out. I wish it was a cross-stitch project though, because I feel like some of the detail is lost because of the fact that it's tapestry. But it does have, the bird for example has back stitching around it, but I can't really see it so well on this. I haven't done the rest of the back stitching because I only noticed that the bird, this is a French knot for the eye, by the way. Don't know if you can see that there. The eye is a French knot. I had a little bit of practice with French knots on one of my other projects, and so I kind of feel like I know what I'm doing a bit more, but it is a little bit raised, I'm noticing. But yeah, anyway, so that's that. That's where I am with Freezing Season Tapestry. Also, I decided, I've had this in my kit for a little while, and so I decided to, why have I got you, oh right, sorry, I'm reading something. So yeah, I've had this in my kit for a while. I got this was gifted to me by a viewer of the podcast. This is the Dimensions kit, Lakeside, what's it called? Lakeside Village. I saw somebody posted a picture on, I think it was Facebook, of this all finished up, and that made me think I really want to start on this one. So there wasn't any Ada with the kit when I got it, so I had to find the Ada, and because it's done on a blue Ada and the sky section here was like a light colour then blue, I thought that it's probably best to have the blue Ada for this. So I bought some 16 count blue Ada. I'm sure that's what was meant to, yeah, it's meant to be 16 count. So I bought 16 count blue Ada as was in the kit originally, and I've made a start. It's not a huge, let me move that, it's not a huge start. I mean, you can't really see much, but that's my start on that. So I've done one page of sky, the top bit, and then I've got to fill in the clouds. I started doing the clouds here, but I haven't continued. I got a bit tired of doing them, so I've left that. I've put it down for a while, and I will go back to it. But this is on 16 count Ada. This top section is half cross stitches, and then when you get to the main body of the pattern of the design, after the sky, it goes to cross stitch, proper full crosses, I think. Hopefully I can't, there's a lot of threads in here, so I don't really want to mess around with that. But yeah, so once you've done the sky section, which I'm doing here, which is half crosses, then you get down to the rest of the design and it becomes full crosses. So I'm looking forward to doing full crosses for that and seeing a little bit of detail here. I was trying to decide whether to go on to page 2 and complete the sky section and then move down to the rest of the design, so that would be basically, I've done this side, this is page 1, and then I would do this bit here for page 2 over this side, and then work from the top downwards in the pattern. But then I thought maybe I should just do this section first, do one page first, and then move on to the other page. Not quite sure what's best to do, but for the time being this is my plan, to do the sky section and then move into some of the other colours here, because that will mix things up a bit. And then maybe after a while I might decide to go back up to the top and finish off the sky, so I can then start working downwards. But we shall see. It's not a quick project. This is more of a long-term project because it's a lot of detail. It's more or less full coverage, so it'll be my first kind of full-ish coverage chart, as opposed to doing little bits and pieces. So we shall see how I get on with that one. But yeah, I was really excited to start that, because why wouldn't I be? So yeah, that is my cross stitching. So those are my whips anyway for cross stitching. Then I've only got one more whip, and that is a knitting project, and that is my scrappy socks. So I showed you these scrappy socks. I showed you my scrappy socks when I first started them, and I was undecided as to whether to cut in the heel and then do the foot of the sock in one colour, or what to do with it, because I get really bored with scrappy socks after a while. I do the cuff. What happens with me, I knit the cuff of the sock, then I do the leg of the sock in the scrappy yarn, and then I get to the heel and I'm like, yeah, I can do the heel, but then I really don't want to do scrappy socks for the rest of the foot because it's just so same-ish. But this time round I've managed to push myself, and I've completed one sock so far. I'm nearly done, but I've completed one sock. I bought some cream yarn, which is Adriafil yarn. I don't know what I've done with the label. I have to show you that next time because I can't see that. This is the yarn. I don't know where the label is. It's gone. But yeah, that's the yarn. Hopefully you can see that. So I've done a cream cuff and a cream toe, and these are both, this is a rounded toe, and it's just basically the same for the heel. And not cuff, I called this the cuff, didn't I? What's wrong with me? It's the heel, the heel. So I did stripy socks. I made it an afterthought sock, basically. I've done the stripe of the sock all the way down to here, and then I've inserted the, what did I do first? On this one first I inserted the heel and tidied up the heel because I had gaping great holes there for some reason. Now it's not perfect, but it'll do. That side's a lot neater. And then I finished off the foot of the sock, and then I've added in the toe. So now I'm on to sock number 2. I've just finished the toe, and I'm just cutting in the heel. So I used waste yarn, the waste yarn method. So basically you get to a certain point after you've knit the sock, and then you knit with waste yarn, and then you continue with the yarn that you was using before, or whatever yarn you feel like using for the real bit of the sock, so that you can remove the waste yarn and pick up live stitches to do the heel. And I've never done that before, or well, I've done it before just when I was trying it for the first ever time, but since then I've always just cut the sock and unraveled bits and then inserted my heel rather than using the waste yarn method. And now I remember why, because doing it this way, it's easier to pick up stitches this way, yes, but I do find with this method I tend to have gaping holes at the side, and when I do my other method I cut it where I want to, I rip back stitches for as much as I feel like, because this is a 64 stitch sock. I will rip out the stitches for 30 stitches I think, and then I will do the heel, whereas with this I've picked up 32 live stitches on each side to do the heel, and it makes it a little bit more of a gaping hole. Now I'm sure there's a way of getting around that I haven't figured out, because I generally don't tend to do my socks this way, my afterthought socks this way, but for me it's just a nuisance having to tidy up the hole afterwards, especially when I've got like a million ends to sew in after I've done the sock. So yeah, but that's where I'm at. I have, this is sock number 2, this is sock number 1. Number 2, I've just finished the toe and I'm cutting in the heel. So once I've done that, then it's just a matter of weaving in the ends. All these are wonderful ends that come with a Scrappy sock. There's millions of ends, so it takes a long time. But yeah, that is it. The only difference between this and my normal sock recipe is that I've done a twisted rib cuff for this, and obviously it's an afterthought sock. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. I did think that perhaps I could have done, instead of making them totally random sock yarn colours, I could have done cream in between each colour, but it's too late now. Maybe I'll do that in the next one. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Probably won't do a Scrappy sock for a while because they take so long to do. Right, so those are my works in progress. Now let's move into my incoming. Okay, so I have a few incoming things to share with you. First up is a sock pattern. So this was a free sock pattern by Simple Gifts Pictured on Instagram, and it's her first ever sock pattern, so I thought I would share it on my video here. So this is the Yuletide Cheer Socks pattern. It is a free pattern available on Ravelry. It's Tracy's first ever pattern, so do go onto Ravelry if you're on there and support her by getting a copy of her pattern and having a go. It's got details on the cuff section, but the sock is plain, which is what I like about this, because I tend to do a lot of vanilla socks because I can't be bothered to do patterns all the way around the foot. But I quite like the idea of just having the pattern on the cuff section where I can work round and round, and then the foot is just plain sailing. So I'm going to have a go at this pattern for sure at some point, but for now I've got it, it's in my stash, and I can do this at my leisure. But do check it out. Yuletide chair sock pattern, free on Ravelry. It's her first ever pattern, so please do go and support Tracy in this new adventure. So that's that one. I purchased some yarn. Last time I showed you this pattern that I wanted to do, this baby cardigan. So I picked up the yarn to do that. And this is Stylecraft Bambino double knit yarn. So this is what I picked up. And it's the colour soft pink. So I'm hoping that will be nice, because the pattern says that the pattern uses doubled up yarn. So 2 strands of double knit yarn. So that's what it should look like. Not sure when I'm going to have a go at that, but I've got the yarn now, so I'm equipped to do what I need to get that one started. It was my birthday this week, so I have been treating myself. Not this week. What, 2 weeks ago, and so my friend bought me a pattern, another cross stitch pattern. So this is Bee Bunny not butterflies. I've got Bee Bunny butterflies, but this is not it. This is the Bee Bunny Friends cross stitch kit by Bothy threads, and that's what it looks like. I've been looking at this one for a while, and my friend asked me what I'd like, so I told her this, and she's bought it for me. So this is on a 14 count white Zygar Ada, and it uses cross stitch, occasional fractions, back stitch, and a lazy daisy stitch. Oh, I've never done the lazy daisy stitch, so that'll be a first for me. There it is there. Didn't even notice that. It's got the lazy daisy there, so that's going to be fun to try out. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to this one, because I've got quite a few cross stitch projects on the go. That's that. Also, somebody mentioned before, I think it was Darren, Dizzy Stitcher, that he was doing some black work, and I got intrigued by it. And then I saw somebody that I follow on Instagram do this black work cross stitch pattern, and I thought, right, I'm going to have a go. So it's an easy one. Well, it should be easy anyway, because it's a small one, and it's by Doodle Craft Design, Painting by Stitching, and it's Introduction to Blackwork Kit 1, and this is what it looks like. So I'm going to have a go at this at some point. I like the look of it. Not sure what colour to do it on, or what well, the fabric comes in the kit, so it's all in the kit here. And although I've got the black threads to do the kit in, I might choose a different colour, but I'm not sure yet. So we shall see. Is it on 14 count? It's on 18 count Ada, so that's going to be interesting. I've never worked on 18 count Ada. Yes, so that'll be my first time on 18 count Ada. So there's quite a few firsts going on in this video, aren't there? Yeah, let me put that back in the packet. With that came a free gift of a pattern, Coaster Art pattern by Doodle Craft Design, and it's a Christmas tree. And that's what it is there. Not sure if I'm going to have a go at this one. This may go into a giveaway, because not sure if I want to try that. Someone else may like that and appreciate it a lot more than I do, but that came with it. Then I have a seat stand that I got so I could do my cross stitching, but I think I'm going to show you that next time, because this video is long enough already. The last thing I have to show is this pattern. So I mentioned earlier that with the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn came this pattern. Now this pattern is called Comet Lace Panel Socks, and it's a design by Winwick Mum. I've got 2 of these because I keep buying the yarn. I keep getting a free pattern with it, so I'm inclined to do a giveaway for this pattern. So if you want a copy of the West Yorkshire Spinners Comet Lace Panel Socks pattern that goes with the West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn Silent Night, this is only a giveaway for the pattern itself, not for the yarn. So if you want to win a copy of this pattern, then in the comment section below the video, just include in your comment the words Silent Night, and I will know that you want to have a chance of winning the pattern, and I will choose someone at random to receive this pattern, and I'll send that out to you. So that is it. The video is long enough as it is. Like I said, I'm going to show you my seat stand in my next video, because I think this video is a bit long already. And thank you for watching till the end of the video. I know it's been a long one. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all the things I've been working on. Not quite sure what my plans are, but that will just make a video even longer if I start going into what I plan to do. So I'm going to leave it there. thank you for watching. Hopefully I will get a video up in the next few weeks. I think maybe I will try and do one in the next couple of weeks rather than a month's time. Watch this space. If you want to see any videos that I do upload, then do click on the subscribe button to be subscribed to my channel, and to click on the notifications button to be notified when I upload a new video. That is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're all well, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.